3 days after they fired me, my phone rang at 6 a.m. The operations manager's voice was shaking. Maya, we can't legally operate without you. The state inspection is in 2 weeks and nobody else has the license. I smiled, took a sip of coffee, and said the words I'd been waiting 12 years to say. That's unfortunate. My consulting rate is $300 an hour. But before I tell you how I went from fired and humiliated to making 4 times my salary while they begged me to come back, you need to understand something. They didn't just fire me. They fired the only person in the entire facility who held the operating license required by law, and they had no idea until it was too late. My name is Maya Prasad. I'm a Class A wastewater treatment facility operator. It took me 3 years of study, 2 brutal exams, and 5 years of supervised experience to earn that certification. In the entire state, less than 200 people hold it. In our facility, in 12 years, I was the only one who ever bothered to get it, because everyone else assumed it didn't matter. That expertise was just paperwork, that I was replaceable. They were wrong. The day they fired me started like any other Tuesday. I arrived at 7, made my rounds through the plant, checked the chemical levels, reviewed the overnight logs. Everything running smooth, everything under control. Because that's what I did. For 12 years, I kept that facility compliant, operational, invisible to regulators. Nobody noticed when things worked. They only noticed when things broke. At 10 a.m., I got an email. Report to HR immediately. I knew what it meant. I'd seen the new VP, Marcus Hale, circling me for weeks. Fresh MBA, designer suits, the kind of man who mistakes confidence for competence. 3 weeks earlier, I'd rejected his plan to automate our entire treatment process with a system he'd read about in a management blog. I'd explained, in front of senior leadership, that his plan violated state environmental regulations. He'd turned red, called me resistant to innovation. Resistant to innovation. That's corporate speak for you embarrass me, and I'm going to make you pay. So when HR slid the termination letter across the table, I wasn't surprised, just tired. We're restructuring, the HR director said with that practiced smile. Your position has been deemed redundant, effective immediately. I stared at the paper, my name in sterile corporate font. 12 years reduced to 1 word. Redundant. Marcus sat beside her, scrolling through his phone, not even looking at me, like I was already gone, already erased. Is anyone else being let go today? I asked. Just you, she said. Budget constraints. I almost laughed. Budget constraints. The company had just hired Marcus at twice my salary. They'd renovated the executive offices, bought new company cars, but I was the budget problem. I stood up slowly, picked up the termination letter, and said something that made both of them freeze. You might want to check who holds the facility's operating license. Just a thought. I walked out before they could respond. Security was already waiting at my desk. A young guy who looked embarrassed. I packed my things, photos of my niece, the coffee mug my team gave me last Christmas, and one more thing, the binder I kept under my desk, 12 years of documentation, every safety report, every compliance audit, every email where I'd warned management about cutting corners, and tucked in the back, behind old training manuals, a single laminated card, my operator license, the only one in the building. I slipped it into my purse and walked out. The parking lot was too bright, too quiet. I sat in my car, hands on the steering wheel, breathing. My phone buzzed. My best friend Lena, who worked in admin. Maya, what happened? I just heard. Redundant, apparently. She went quiet. Then, almost whispering, do you have the license? I do. Oh my God. They have no idea, do they? Not yet, I said, but they will. I didn't know then just how fast it would happen. I thought maybe a week. Maybe 2. Time for them to realize their mistake, scramble, come crawling back. It took 3 days. The first call came from Tom Reeves, the plant operations manager. The man who'd worked under me for 8 years. His voice was tight. Maya, I know things ended badly, but do you still have your operator license? I do. He exhaled, shaky and desperate. We have a state inspection in 2 weeks. I just realized nobody else here is certified to sign off on the reports. That's a problem. Maya, please. If we fail this inspection, they'll shut down the entire facility. Hundreds of jobs. I leaned back in my chair, have Marcus call me. Silence, then quieter. He won't. Then you don't have a license, Tom. Good luck. I hung up. What I didn't tell Tom was that I'd been tracking that inspection for months. It was routine, annual, straightforward if you knew what you were doing. But state law was clear. No licensed operator, no legal operation. Without someone certified to oversee testing, verify compliance reports, and sign the documentation, the facility would fail automatically. They'd be shut down, fined, possibly face criminal charges for operating without proper credentials, and I was the only person who could prevent it. The second call came the next day. The HR director. Her professional veneer was cracking. Ms. Prasad, we need to discuss a potential contract opportunity. Short-term consulting basis. I'm not interested. Please, this is urgent. We're willing to negotiate terms. I'm sure you are, I said, but I'm currently exploring other opportunities. You called me redundant, remember? So now I'm acting accordingly. Maya, be reasonable. I was reasonable for 12 years. You can be reasonable now. I hung up and blocked her number. That night, Lena texted. They're freaking out. Marcus is in meetings all day. Someone leaked that you were the only licensed operator. HR is scrambling. Good, I texted back. But what Lena didn't know, what nobody knew yet, was that I'd already documented everything. The wrongful termination, the retaliation for whistleblowing, every meeting where Marcus had dismissed safety concerns, every email where I'd raised red flags and been ignored. I'd been building a case for years without even realizing it, because when you're the person nobody listens to, you learn to keep records. On day 7, my phone rang from a number I didn't recognize. I almost ignored it. Ms. Prasad, this is James Corrigan, Senior Counsel for Envirotech Industries. That was the parent company. The people above Marcus, above HR, above everyone. Mr. Corrigan, what can I do for you? We'd like to offer you reinstatement, full back pay, restoration of benefits, a formal apology. I let the silence stretch, and we'd like to discuss terms for you to oversee the upcoming inspection. As an employee or contractor, he hesitated. We're open to either arrangement. I'm not. I'll consult on the inspection. Independent contractor. $300 an hour, minimum 40-hour engagement. Payment upfront. Contract signed by both parties before I step foot on site. He paused. Ms. Prasad, that's highly unusual. So is firing your only licensed operator, I said. Oh, and one more thing. I want a written apology from Marcus Hale acknowledging that my termination was unjust. Another pause. I'll need to consult with leadership. You have 48 hours. After that, my rate doubles.